Macmillan Audio presents Johnny Careless by Kevin Wade. Read for you by John Perhala. Chapter 1. That early on a Sunday morning, the beaches in Bayville were owned by the shorebirds, grazing at the tidal buffet. It seemed to Police Chief Jeep Mullane that they were angry at the intrusion as the officers on scene taped off the perimeter and the EMTs carefully slid the body out of the water. The gulls screeched like snooty old ladies clutching their pearls, and an osprey eyed the bald pink scalp of one EMT like it was a slice of deli ham. Jeep Mullane liked to challenge his days that way, the voice in his head looking to lighten up the grim times or jazz up the tedious ones. He'd learned the mind game from his father, an NYPD detective who loved classic cartoons. His dad would have described the osprey as having a napkin tied around its neck like a bib, and with a knife and fork clutched in its talons. He liked to say, "Picture the wildlife as people, and the people as wildlife. It helps sometimes." Corporal Jackson was a couple steps ahead of Jeep as they headed to the waterline.
"Current's moving east, so the volleys are checking the shoreline going west, looking for a vehicle and clothes, and they know not to touch anything," she said. The local volunteer fire department's calls largely came from a limited menu consisting of faulty smoke alarms, microwave fires, and seniors who'd fallen and couldn't get up. A body washing up on the beach would make for a welcome break, and if Jeep was being honest, that went for him too. "Slow down, Jackson. Walking in sand sucks for my knee, and you going ahead of me is not a good look." Corporal Jackson slowed, winced, and shrugged an apology. "Copy that, Chief."
Jeep accelerated with a rolling gait to cover for a slight limp. "Come on, Jackson. Try to keep up." She laughed, as he'd intended. The second squad of the Nassau County PD and their field medical examiner were approaching the scene from the public beach parking lot. Jeep gritted his teeth and broke into a trot. He was chief here, and he was going to plant his flag first. "What do we got?" Sergeant Bondurant lifted the yellow tape, and Jeep ducked under.
"In his skivvies, so probably a night swim, and looks like a boat or a jet ski hit him, square in the kisser."
Jeep stepped around Bondurant and walked to the body. Male. White, turning to dappled shades of blue. Late 30s or 40, just shy of 6 feet. Athletic build, with a full head of hair slicked back from the raw red mulch where his face used to be. One ear dangled, torn half off. Jeep took a breath and held it, determined to keep down the breakfast burrito, trying to claw its way back out. The EMT flicked a strip of seaweed off the corpse's right ankle, looked closer. "Got a tat here, Chief," he said, turning the ankle a few degrees out for a better look. "X marks the spot." Jeep leaned over. Just above the ankle bone, an inch or so square, a tattooed X in green ink, the borders blurred by the years. Jeep stood up straight, sucked down another deep breath, and positively ID'd the deceased. But just to himself. 21 years earlier. Johnny Payson Chambliss had a guy for everything, even at 17 years old. Johnny had a guy for 11th hour exam cramming, for the mechanics of every sport he took up, for exotic strains of weed and CIA-grade fake IDs. Johnny had a fixer or a pro or an...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?